Hello friend, it's Rachel Archelaus, and we spoke about overwhelm in our last video. Today we're going to talk about goal setting and how that looks as a spiritual, multi-passionate person. Our real goals are set before we come here. We create a general outline for our life and a theme that we want to experiment with. Now, our soul, our higher self, doesn't care if we do that or not. There's no judgment. But we feel pulled to that theme. We're going to feel it internally. And what we tend to do as personalities when we get here is we tend to feel that pull, but then we put on top of it all of these layers of have-tos and shoulds and judgments on what it needs to look like, how we have to get there, who we have to be to get there. And that is what screws us all up. So we're creating extra steps for ourselves because we're playing in this earth world. And that's really where the traditional goal setting comes in. And that's why it doesn't normally feel very good to us spiritual, multi-passionate people. We don't like the word goal. We don't want to have a goal. We don't agree with the word goal, and I am totally with you there. But what we can see it as, what we can extract from this, is that we feel a pull towards something greater than what we are right now. We know there's more for us. We have a bigger potential than what we're living out. And there's a gap that we're trying to move through in the most efficient way possible. That is what we can call a goal from now on. It's to make it to our potential. It's to flower, to blossom as our true selves in what we had intended for ourselves before we got here. You can feel this, I know you can, as your real potential, as the true you. You may not be able to put words to it. You may not know what gifts you've brought to this life, but you know there is something more. So our goal is to become, to realize, to actualize that something more. And we can put some parameters on that goal by how it feels. When you tap into that feeling of more for yourself, what does it feel like? Does it feel like freedom, like joy, like expression, like peace? You're gonna have different words for it than me, but there's a definite feeling there. And that is what I'm keeping at the forefront when I'm thinking about my goals. Let me just kind of explain some of these terms here, in case you're not really familiar with them. So what I mean by traditional goal setting and this kind of goal setting is this. We are a personality self, right? We have a mind, and most people, though this is changing rapidly, most people just think of themselves as this, and that's it. They are a mind, they use a scientific method, logic rules their life, they don't believe in intuition, and that's where they stop. Everything has to be logical, it has to make sense, it has to flow, it has to be based on something, based on fact, based on something that came before. That is how the mind works. The mind compiles things that came before to make projections about the future. But we already know that this doesn't work, right? Linearly, we would go to high school, get good grades, go to extracurricular activities, go to an Ivy League school, get a great job. I have a lot of friends who went to Ivy League schools who are drug addicts and not very happy people. I also know a lot of people who dropped out of high school, went to college over 10 years, and is perfectly happy doing what they're doing, and that's me. So linear thinking, logical thinking, it doesn't guarantee an outcome. It does not. Nowhere, I mean, think of the scientific method. The scientific method is probably the most logical thing on earth, right? It's gotten us very far scientifically. However, they have proven with quantum physics that the observer changes the outcome. And so it's basically impossible to have some kind of experiment be completely unbiased. It's basically impossible to conduct an experiment perfectly because the observer changes the outcome. And so even though we do double-blind studies nowadays, people still have to, compile the results and do the statistical analysis and everything. So I know I'm getting a little heady right now, but what I'm trying to say is that this cannot be counted on for the facts, for the truth, for the most efficient passage to your goal. Okay. Now, what we really have, we're not limited by this, and I know you know this, we are actually not limited by anything. So, for purposes of explanation, I'm going to show you the simplified version of what I'm talking about. So, we are a step down from source. We are differentiated from each other. We appear to be different people because of this kind of process that we go through. We all start here, all of us, and we all break off. We go down to the oversoul, which has many of us. Then we break off into our soul. And then we go down to our higher self. And then we go down to us. So this is all just basically a step down process where we get to be more differentiated. So my soul is different from your soul, is different from Eric's soul, is different from Joe's soul. But we may be connected at the oversoul level. So we may be integrating and connecting and joining up at that level. My higher self is going to be different from your higher self and different from everyone else's higher self. But essentially, we're all connected. We are all connected back into source. So you have your oversoul and your higher self and your person self, your personality self. Okay? We're all connected. You know what? And everything is made of the same consciousness. So my chair, my cat, there's baby. Everything is made of the same consciousness. We're all the same thing. There is no separation. But we're playing it out like there is because we're in a game right now. We're in this fun earth game. So I can talk to you, and all at the same time, our higher selves are talking to each other. Our higher selves are actually creating this projection of reality that we're in. So this is just a projection. It's been proven as well that none of this is real, that we're just perceiving it with our minds, basically, with our brains. Our higher selves are creating all of it, intertwining our realities, and we are just kind of the passengers. We're along for the ride. So, if our higher selves are creating all of this, right, they're making the light show, they're creating the opportunities, they are behind the synchronicities that we all experience, the magic, the wonder, the seemingly amazing things that happen all the time. Our higher selves are all collaborating with each other on this awesome little matrix, like they're all talking to each other, making it so that we can interact and have this amazing time. If the higher self level of us is creating this, who should we go to ask how to get from A to B? Should we ignore all this and then ask our mind, like, what should I do today? No, probably not, right? Probably not. It's probably not the best idea to go below the source level to ask what we should be doing today. So in terms of goal setting, I ask my higher self what to do, more than not. You know, it does take practice to get used to doing that because we're definitely not taught to do that. But when I want something, when I'm trying to align more with myself, more with my potential, I ask myself what I need to do today. What today will bring me closer to me, to my potential. My potential, my theme for this life is all about teaching and experiencing and being art and creating and expressing. And those are all things that are the tangibles of my feelings, right? We started this talk about the feelings of being us, and now we're talking about what it takes, the doing to be us. But on a day-to-day basis, what do we need to do? What do we need to focus on to be us? We are taking this amazing concept from soul, our soul urges, all the way down to the minuscule 5 minutes I'm going to spend on a task today. That is so amazing to me, isn't it? It's like we can take now these huge concepts of lifetime themes and live it moment to moment in complete harmony with our soul and with the whole projection of reality that we're going through. And we're doing this because we live here, because we have bodies, because I'm sitting on a cushion right now, because we're playing this awesome game of being in density. And this focus is part of the reason, a huge part of the reason, why I've been able to create over $100,000 in revenue in a very short period of time. Doing what I love, offering this, being in my soul theme, realizing my potential, growing all the time. There's at no point will I ever be done realizing myself. And I do it because my higher self tells me what to do, and I listen. I'm not at the place of complete surrender, and I don't hear physically what to do every day. It's not like I just wake up, open my ears, and I listen. I actually get this stuff through my intuitive art. So the actual to-dos, the tasks I write down on my list, the tasks that I complete during the day and check off, I get through intuitive art. And for the past few months, I've been working with other people using this method of what to focus on right now to achieve this, and then getting our tasks from that one drawing. It's been pretty amazing, and I'm really thankful that that kind of came through, and I've been working with that. So you can see the difference, and I want to draw you one more diagram. What I'm illustrating here, I'm going to make it even more clear. So basically, if what we want, if our feelings, we feel them as this, and like a lot of us, we can put a marker on there. Like, I want to be a Hay House author, or I want to speak at this conference, or I want to have this much revenue, or I want to have this kind of house, or I want to live on Hawaii. Whatever it is that your expression is becoming, whatever kind of like actual worldly goal you have, you just first want to make sure it's in alignment, obviously. Like right now, I am obsessed with tiny houses. I want an off-grid tiny house. So that would be a good one for me to go for, because I know it's in alignment, and I know that it's definitely something that is part of my path, right? I actually want to take it on tour. So it's the perfect thing. It folds in with my feelings and with my theme of teaching and being in this role. So anyway, so let's pretend this is my tiny house, okay? This is the perfect one for me. It's perfect beyond even what I know right now. So it has more features than I'm even aware of. It's more perfect for me than I could even put together if I wanted to. But for me, my mind, I'm down here. So logically, I could say, oh, well, I've got to save up, $20,000 to $80,000 for this tiny house. And I'm going to start a savings account, and I'm going to put money in there every month. And I can hold a special sale, or I can, my mind will think of different ways to go about this based on what it's done in the past or what it's seen other people do. Maybe it'll even tell me to, start a Kickstarter. I don't know. It could tell me anything. But the fact is that if I only go with my mind, we already know that that's probably not going to work out, because I can't see the end. I cannot see my tiny house. It's not here yet. It's not just in my yard. I can't go look at it, check it out, see how much it is. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know who made it. I don't know if I make it. I don't know where it's going to come from. So there's this wall in the way. I can't see the tiny house. But, and I know you already know where I'm going with this, Guess who can? My higher self has a ladder and a platform. So my higher self can see. It can even bust through this rock because it's creating this rock. It can see the tiny house. But not only that, it can see the people who make it. It can see the people who tell me about it. It can see how much it costs. It can see what stuff is inside of it. It can see me in the future going down the street on tour with it. It can see absolutely everything around it, through it, in it. It can talk to the consciousness of the tiny house. And in fact, my higher self actually creates the tiny house. It creates the tiny house. It allows the consciousness to form into a solid thing called a tiny house. So, where should I go for information on how to get here? Should I go to here? Or should I allow that information to be passed back and forth so that my higher self can guide me? I think I should go to my higher self. It just that knowing this seems more logical, right? It just seems like you'd go to the person who's the expert on the outcome. I have never bought a tiny house. I'm not an expert on that. My higher self is the one that's going to create the tiny house and orchestrate everything involved. So I'm going to go to my higher self to get information. I'm pretty smart, and I know you're smart too. So the trick is that your higher self is going to give you just one piece at a time if you listen to your body intuition. It's going to say, go over here or go over here based on how you feel inside. So whatever feels in alignment for you is really where you're going to go. That is great. I definitely recommend that. So we've all had that experience of feeling intuition in our bodies where something feels great. You don't know why, but you know you have to do it. You feel elated, you feel lighter, you feel happy when you think about that thing. That's a directional pull from your higher self to go there. When you don't feel good, when you feel off or icky or sour, that's a no. It means you don't go there. And a lot of us are operating that way already. We're already aligning with our souls, with our outcomes based on those feelings. But with intuitive art and this special thing that I developed, we're getting a bigger picture. We're getting a week's worth of to-dos at a time. And I find that getting more than just one thing at a time helps my mind level to follow through better because it's less questioning. It's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then you do another drawing and you have more. I like that because it's not just like do this one thing that I put off and put off. You know, so even me, I'm very good at following my intuition. Even I find it to be easier when I have more information at one sitting and that I can kind of see a picture develop. So that's what I've found over the past few months works really well for me. And it's actually helping me get over a lot of the resistance I have to being bigger. Like we talked about last time, we have a fear, a pretty big fear of being our potential. So when we're just following our mind, it's nearly impossible to reach your potential because we're just walking around in circles. Even when you follow your intuition, it's harder to get over that stumbling block of fear and overwhelm because we only have these two things to work with, the yes and the no, the pull and the push. So I'm finding it a lot easier to calm down, see the fear for what it is, and to go big anyway. So that's my take on goal setting. I really hope that that makes sense for you. And if you are interested in learning about the method that I'm talking about for getting a week's worth of to-dos at a time from your higher self, just click on some link somewhere around here and it'll take you to another video. You can find out more. All right, guys, lots of love, and let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with my view of things? Do you see it differently? I believe we all have our own realities, and if your view is a little different or very different, that's cool. I'm into that. And definitely let us know, because you're probably not the only one who feels that way. So lots of love. I cannot wait to talk to you again. Bye-bye.